Manhattan poised for a return to hopefully normal, but what does that mean for the real estate market? Joining us right now with more on that is Bess Friedman. She's the CEO of Brown Harris Stevens, a luxury residential real estate firm with listings right here, of course, also in the Hamptons, Miami, and Palm Beach, where things are hot, hot, hot. Let's talk, though, about Manhattan right now. I don't know where Manhattan stands in terms of its heat relative to, I'm sure, the business that you have in Florida right now. But what are you seeing?
You know, Andrew, the market has come back much stronger than anyone could have predicted. A year ago, we were in lockdown, and now today the market is outperforming any of our expectations. I think there was a lot of pent-up demand. I think we have still historically low rates. There's a lot of opportunities. And now with the vaccine, people are feeling empowered and want to take advantage of the market.
You know, we hear constantly a narrative of the flight from New York to Miami, to Florida, and places like that. When you look at both of those markets, how do they compare right now?
No, I think, listen, there's no supply. If you go to Miami and Palm Beach, they're very short on supply. The demand is very high, and they have nothing to sell. So that's a challenged market right now. New York City has ample supply. It's still a buyer's market. Prices are correcting, which has helped the fluidness. So we're in a little bit different environment in New York City because we do have good supply and demand. And Palm Beach and Florida, there was a flight. There were a lot of people who left during the pandemic. But people have returned. A lot of people have come back to the city from the Hamptons, from Connecticut, from Florida. But we still have a reckoning to deal with. We have a mayor's race. We have, a lot of legislators in Albany that are pushing for some egregious taxes that would hurt the city. So we have to keep our eyes on all of those things.
When you look at the supply, though, in terms of in terms of the city, prices are where? Off by 10%, off by more? And how does that relate also to the Hamptons and some of the other areas, Westchester, New Jersey, around the city itself?
So if I had to give a good estimate of New York City, I would say prices have corrected roughly 6%, maybe 10, give or take, depends. Obviously, we know not all square feet are created equally. But I would say around there makes about the right, number. The Hamptons and Palm Beach and those areas, Westchester, that market is just on fire. The prices have gone up. In Palm Beach, we had a buyer who bought something for $17 million, closed on it, put it on the market for $23 million the next week and sold it without doing anything to it. So that's kind of like another world. New York City is not in that environment. We're still in a buyer's market. We're still on the planet Earth, which is a good thing. And we're fluid. It's a fluid market, which is very good.
One of the things we are seeing, and the Wall Street Journal just reported on it, rentals. 1 in 10 rental apartments is vacant right now. That's a remarkable statistic.
It is. The rental market was really suffering during the pandemic. Landlords were giving in concessions, 3 months free. The vacancy rate was something like 30% and growing. And so that was really scary, but it's come down. There's less leverage that tenants have right now, but the rental market is still very soft. And that's another place where people can take advantage of the market and get a good deal. Right. So
Bess, you sort of referenced this Alice in Wonder. Let me ask you, you also reference this sort of, I don't know if you were saying it's not realistic, but what's happening in Palm Beach, what's happening in Florida, what's happening in the Hamptons. Would you not be buying at this point? I mean, if you say to yourself, I'm buying, not necessarily as an investment per se, because hopefully people are going to live in these homes, but if it was supposed to be an investment, is this a bad investment? Is that what you're suggesting?
I don't think it's a bad investment. Remember, buying your home is different than buying stock. It's an investment and you hope it appreciates, but it's connected to your existence. It's where you raise your family. It's where you sometimes have Shabbat dinner. It has all this meaning to it. So it's a little bit different. And I don't think it's a bad investment, especially if you're going to live there for a long period of time. It matters greatly to people. It's sacred, their home. So no, it just depends. It's much more discretionary. Obviously, if you're spending $23 million, that's discretionary purchases. But, it just depends on your situation.
But I guess the question is there going to be a rotation back? I guess the question is, do you believe that there's going to be a rotation back, or is this a permanent rotation? Meaning, are there people that are going to go to the Hamptons or go to Palm Beach or go wherever they're going, and then are going to decide in 2 or 3 years, you know what, I actually like the city. I'm going back to the city, and therefore the values in the city may actually increase again, and maybe some of those other places don't? Or do you think this is a pull forward permanent situation?
I think it's more of a pull forward. It's very hard to tell, but I do think people are going to come back to New York City. But I think those investments will, or it will take time, to see what really, how that's, what happens, how it sort of sorts itself out.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.